Welcome to the Occupational Safety Leadership Podcast, episode number 274. This is a continuation of episode 268 with Rod Courtney. I really enjoyed Rod's book, and I did everything I could to get him back on this podcast. I thought we could get through all eight, and we were really short. We got through two of them. So we're going to, Rod, if you could just say a little bit about yourself, and then
Yeah,
we'll do if you could do the eight again for those who didn't hear the first one, and then let's focus in on two and three then, please. I'm sorry, three and four.
3 and 4. Yeah, no
Yeah.
worries. Well, like you said, guys, my name is Rod Courtney. I am the Director of Health and Safety for Power Grid Services. I've been in the industry now, I don't know, health and safety going on about 30 years, but in the power industry specifically since 2006. And I've been very fortunate to be able to publish a couple of books, uh, tons of magazine articles and stuff, but two actually published books that thank you guys, everyone, for helping them do so well on Amazon. So the Eight Habits was the first book that I wrote. I explained in the first episode about how that came to be, but the habits themselves are written in sequential order that if you start with one and then go to two, three, four, and so on, down to seven, actually, it will help you either change or maintain or grow a safety culture, whatever it is. If you've already completed number one or number two, then it's fine. Just skip it. And it'll shorten your time a little bit. But so habit number eight was designed to help you or give you ways to complete one through seven. So it's actually seven habits that'll change things. Eight is a habit that would it's a habit for yourself to teach you how to be able to implement the first seven. So here's how it goes. Habit number one, safety is not a priority. Habit number two is you must maintain channels for communication that make it safe for your employees to report everything. Habit three is safety is owned by operations. Habit four is focus left of zero. We'll talk about that more here in a moment. Habit five says stop trying to manage people. And the idea behind that is you don't manage people, you lead people. Habit six is stop trying to fix the worker and fix the work instead. And habit seven is find the sticky to stop the SIF. Sticky is the stuff that can kill you, and SIF are the significant injuries and fatalities. So if you find the stuff that can kill you, we can stop killing people. And habit eight just talks about don't try to influence everyone. The fact is, you try to influence everyone, you end up not influencing anyone, and you're right back where you started from. So it gives you methods of how to influence other people and really focus in on that. So David, you want me to just get right into habit three?
Yep.
All right,
Yep. Let's
perfect.
do it.
So here's the thing about habit three. We've already agreed or we've already gone through habit one. Safety is no longer a priority. Habit two, we've got channels for communication now that employees can report stuff. So the idea behind habit three is this. Operations must own safety. For many years, the safety department was responsible for the safety of the employees. And that can't be the case. Because ultimately, David, what happens there is if you make me responsible for compliance, I mean, think about that for just a minute. If you go out there right now, as a matter of fact, and pull up LinkedIn or Indeed or any job posting for a safety professional, more times than not, it's going to talk about compliance, enforcing rules in the job description. That is absolutely the wrong direction to go. And here's why. If you make me responsible to enforce the rules, I become a safety cop. You force me to be a safety cop. You tell me I don't want safety cops on my job. I don't want safety Nazis on my job. Yet you put me in charge of compliance. You can't do that. I've asked this question long before I ever wrote this book. Why is it that when I walk out to the job, I've got a foreman standing there, maybe a superintendent standing over there, and three other people standing there watching this job or helping with this job, and no one has told that guy over there to tie off, or no one's told that girl over there that she didn't put her gloves on, or no one's you saw it already. Why didn't you correct it? Why am I the one having to come out here and correct and make corrections to compliance? It shouldn't be that way.
Right.
So when operations own safety, right? It's their program. They own it. They should have some input in it. You can't go below the OSHA standard, but other than that, they should have some input in the policies. When they do, you make them responsible for it and you let them enforce the compliance. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, hey, safety people, if you see something wrong, you shouldn't say anything. Of course you should. Don't stop doing that. But that should not be the rule, right? That's a one-off. That person should have already been corrected long before you walked by. And when operations owns safety, then we know that the compliance part of it will be met, and then we as safety professionals can do our job, which is monitor, audit, review, and advise.
Exactly. I've often thought that let's just say that we actually were safety cops. You can't be every single place. You can't be on every job site. You can't watch every single person. So operations has to be the one to own it. They are also the ones who get monitored and measured on things like performance. I'm trying to give a good example here. You're pumping out widgets, you're doing things. So it's those guys who are the owners. We are the supporters. We are supporting the owners, of course, in getting their job, that mission done.
Absolutely. And
Mhm.
that's, if you when we can change the perception of what a safety professional should be doing and put the compliance part of the responsibility on operations. Well, now you have compliance enforcers on every job all the time. So now we are much more in compliance. That allows us to look at things from different angles, which later on in this book, we're going to talk about some of this, the things that we should be looking for, right? We should be looking at things from a much higher level, a human performance level, where we can influence human behavior to help them complete a job safely while not having to worry about are they wearing their safety glasses?
Right, 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 right,
Yep, yep.
right. Exactly,
Yes,
exactly.
sir. So that's
Mhm.
that's what habit three is all about. So we make sure safety is not a priority. We give channels and make sure that employees understand that it's safe to report everything and make it so that they want to report everything. And then from that, we make sure that operations understands, hey guys, this safety bit, you own it. Okay. I'm not here to enforce your rules for you. You enforce your own rules. Matter of fact, I didn't even write the rules. But if you force me to be that compliance thing, you're making me be a safety cop. That's a very bad idea.
Right, right, right. Well,
Yep.
let's journey to the world of hypothetical for a second. So, what if a person is getting a lot of pushback from the operations crew? What kind of strategies could you just kind of give that person to help them get started?
Well, and this goes actually, and I'm glad you brought that up. It goes into habit eight.
Mhm.
Habit eight talks about how to influence people, right? Now there is a difference in trying to manipulate someone and trying to influence someone.
Right.
Actually, the techniques are sometimes exactly the same, or very, very similar. But here's what I say. Influence, manipulation. Influence comes from a good place. Manipulation comes from a self-serving place. If you're trying to manipulate someone, you're trying to get something personal for it. If you're trying to influence someone, you're trying to make something better.
Hmm.
And my wife thinks otherwise. She thinks I'm trying to manipulate her all the time, when in reality, guys, I'm only trying to influence her, I
Hmm.
promise. But so so there are some very good techniques. Here's one. And you've all heard this before. Nobody ever goes to work and they want to get hurt, or nobody ever goes to work and thinks they're getting hurt today, and so on. And what that is referring to is the why behind it.
Hmm.
See, even the old crusty operations guys, the ones that are like me and you, David, the old guys that have been in operations for their whole life, and he was a helper back when Jesus was the carpenter.
Hmm.
Um, Even they don't want someone to get hurt.
Hmm.
And if you can start with why, right? There's a guy named Simon Sinek that does an
Hmm.
entire TED talk. He actually wrote a book called Start with Why, highly recommended. And if you can use that technique and start with why with the people that are pushing back,
Hmm.
because if they understand why we're trying to do something, almost always now they're more open and apt to listen to the how and the what.
Hmm.
So start with why. Tell them, look, guys, here's why we need to do this. And if you need to make it personal, make it personal. I say this all the time, if you want to get someone's attention, there's three ways we can do it. Make them laugh, make them
Hmm.
cry, or shock the hell out of them. Now, make them laugh is kind of my thing, right? I'm just that's my personality. I do my best to make
Hmm.
them laugh, and you can do that, a bunch of different ways. The make them cry. What that means is touch a nerve. All right. So I'm gonna do a
Hmm.
quick little example for you. Hey, David, my name's Rod Courtney. I'm the safety guy. I was just watching you guys work, man. You know, so glad to be out here with you guys. It's good to finally meet you, man. Do you have any kids?
Oh yeah, I got two.
Really, two boys or girls?
Both.
Really, you got one
Yeah,
boy,
yeah,
one
yeah,
girl.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, I ended up with two girls, man, and I'm gonna tell you what, that this has been quite the ride. What's your daughter's name?
Uh, Zoe.
Zoe.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
You know, one of the things, and I actually have a good friend of mine that has a daughter named Zoe, and she, he's a little bit older than I am, and she was born long before my daughters were. Zoe was actually a name that was on the table for my second daughter,
Hmm.
but uh, Zoe, is she still in school?
Oh yeah. Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. One of the things, man, that I wouldn't ever want to do is have to tell Zoe that dad's not coming home anymore. Now, no, no, I just want to kind of stop there for a second.
Hmm.
And I did a couple of things there. When one of the things you got to know is the sweetest words to the human ear is that person's own given name. So I started that off by using your name.
Hmm.
People like it when other people say their name. Okay. Then what I did was I made it very personal. Now you can make it generically personal, kind of like I did at the end there, or you can make it very specifically personal by finding something that that person loves. If you had said, no, I don't have kids, I would have asked, well, do you have a wife? No, no, never been married. Really? Are your mom and dad still around? Yeah, dad passed away a few years ago, but mom lives right up the street. Boom, there's something, right?
Right.
Find something that they love. And I have no doubt that you love both your children and your wife and everybody, but I picked one because you're a dad and that's your little girl. I could have gone the
Hmm.
son route, okay, and
Hmm.
it would have still worked, just a little differently.
Hmm.
But I chose the girl because that's daddy's little girl. And when you said her name, it didn't really even register to you yet. But when you heard me say her name, that
Hmm.
meant something to you.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
meant a
yeah.
lot to you, and you didn't even realize it until I started talking about daddy not coming home to Zoe. I just influenced you, and you never even realized it. That's just
Hmm.
of many techniques when you to quote make someone cry, touch a nerve. And the last one is shock them. And shocking them is not using an AED. I don't mean that. What I'm talking about is there are a lot of stories out there. Guys go around, they make a good living telling their horror stories. There's the guy that does Hooked on Safety. There's Charlie Moorcraft. There's a bunch of them that go around the country telling their story about how they got injured. And I've seen Charlie in person a few times. And if you hear his story, which most of you listening to this probably have, you know that that will shock you into being
Hmm.
wanting to be safe. So if you can make them laugh, make them cry, or shock them, that's one way to get their attention. Now, once you have their attention, explain the why.
Hmm.
Explain the why, and more times than not, you will get buy-in.
I really that is a great strategy. So I think I've done something certainly not to that degree, but that's really helped out an awful lot. It's just find something that they're really into, you know.
Yeah.
So
I had to talk about a guy's boat one time. Oh yeah. Yep.
a lot of guys
Uh,
love that boat, all right, you
look, man,
know.
he didn't have any kids. He was divorced and hated his ex-wife. Both parents had passed away. So I was like, well, dude, what are you into? You know? And he and he was an only kid, so he didn't have any sisters or brothers. So what are you into, man? I like to fish. Fish, really?
Mhm.
Do you have your own boat? Yeah, man, I got me a 19-foot Sprint, blah blah blah. Dude, you got any pictures of it? And we just had to go that route with it.
Wow.
So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
see,
Pictures,
so there,
picture,
yeah, yeah,
pictures
yeah.
are a really good touch because now somebody has to physically say, "I'm looking at this picture" as I give it to you at the same time
Absolutely.
too. Very good,
Absolutely.
very good.
Absolutely. And that's
Yeah.
just different ways to influence, but influence them and you will more times than not get the buy-in as long as you start with why.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, very good, very good.
So the fourth habit, and I don't want I know last time I took us right to the very wire, and I don't want to do that this time. Um, but habit four says focus left of zero. Now, I got that phrase when I was working in Iraq. I was working for a company over there that did a big presentation, and one of the presenters was talking about we need to focus left of zero. And it's just a really cool way of saying focus on leading indicators, not lagging indicators. So if you
Right.
think about a timeline and anything right on the right side of zero has already happened. There's nothing we can do about that. Can you change your TRIR legally? No. Can
Nope.
you take away the fact that that person broke their foot? No, it's already happened.
Mhm.
Now, I know that our clients and the industry holds us accountable to our TRIRs and all the darts and all that great stuff. But if we can focus on the things that we can change, the things we can do, we'll get much better results. Um, here's what this section goes into: collecting data. Okay. I remember the days when all of your safety observations, your JSAs, your uh, incident investigations, you name it, was all done on paper,
Yep.
if that,
Yep.
or a cocktail napkin,
Hmm.
whatever. It was just jotted down somewhere.
Hmm.
And then we do all this work, good work most of the time, mind you. And whatever happened to that data, David? what do you think happened when I had, 15 foremen on a job site doing one observation a day, when they would bring that observation on a card back to me and give it to me at my safety desk? What do you think ultimately truly happened with that information?
Well, a lot of times it went into a black hole. It was something that was awesome for you, and it never really got past you a lot of times.
That's it, because I had nowhere to
Yeah,
put it. I
right.
mean, on a good day, it would get put into an Excel spreadsheet. But truly, that was only so that I could show the people I worked for that I was actually doing something.
Mhm.
But now with the technology that we have, right? If we are able to track and trend data, let me show you something here.
Mhm.
So we have safety's not a priority. Channels for communication comes into play here because now you've got, which is habit two, you have people reporting things to you willingly, okay? And they're giving you good data. If you take good data and put it into a good system, you will get good metrics on the other side. If you put crap in, you're going to get crap out. So you got
Mhm.
to, we have to ensure that habit two keeps getting revisited and we make sure that we're getting good information from the field. You put that into a system where that can be sorted, tracked, and trended. Okay.
Mhm.
So let's use a hypothetical. Let's say that I have 10 job sites that I'm over, or my company has, whatever. And each of those job sites automatically start really giving me good data. And for the next month, we start seeing a lot of things that say wrong gloves, hands in pinch points, no gloves. Hypothetically, all has to do with hands for the month. At the end of that month, if you put that into a system, because they're going to come one here and one there, you may not ever actually see that trend until you put it in a system and kick out the data on the other side. Now, when you look at it, you can see that hand injury line starting to tick up because
Mhm.
you're getting all this data that's saying people aren't using their hands correctly. If you see that line starting to tick up on the other side of your system, now you can actually do something with the leading indicators, right?
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
can I can start doing safety meetings on hands. I can send out the pictures of the people missing their fingers. I can do training, leading indicators on hand injuries. We can, just flood them with stuff about hand injuries. Give them some new gloves, whatever it takes. All those are leading indicators. When you have the data, focus on the leading indicators of the trends that are coming out and put that on top of it, what do you think happens to that hand injury line next month?
Goes down.
Comes
Yeah,
right back down. 100% of the time it does. You just avoided a hand injury. It's a fact.
right, right, right.
You have to have the system in place. You have to get good data and you have to track and trend that data. Now I can focus left of zero. I can take the leading indicators and I can use them before the accident happens. And here's a little joke that I tell a lot of times when I talk about this. How many of you listening right now have ever been told that from some suit and tie up in the company? We need to focus on the leading indicators, not the lagging indicators. And in reality, you had no flipping clue what that actually meant. I mean, you know what leading indicators are, you know what lagging indicators are, but you're going to hold me accountable to these lagging indicators. You're going to hold my feet to the fire when that TRIR starts to go up. You're really going to freak out if I have a lost time. So where are you forcing me to focus my time? But you're saying something else.
Hmm.
So, like I've said before, this book was written for operations. They have to understand, and we'll really get into this on our next call, David. talking about finding the sticky and stuff like that, where if we can stop focusing all of our attention on those ocean numbers and the fact that, oh man, we had an accident. Because bet you never heard a safety guy say this: you're never going to stop all accidents. You're just not. Okay. But we can stop killing people. And that's a story for another time. That's further down the
Mhm.
habit list. But it all that you're starting to see, I hope, where you see all of this actually ties together. And when we get through with habit 7, you'll be able to see where, wow, if we do these things, you actually get a very positive result at the end. And it can take somewhere between 30 and 60 days to form a habit. So if you have nothing in place at your company and you start at number 1 and just do that one thing for 60 days, then move on to number 2. Now, fair enough, number 2 is probably the hardest of all of these to do. It probably going to take longer than 60 days. That's okay. Give it a few months. Give
Mhm.
it a few months until you're starting to see it work before you move on to 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 and 7. But by the time you get to 7, and you will have to revisit 2, I promise you, you're going to have to go back and kind of re-energize the whole workforce on reporting stuff. That's just a given. But when you make it to 7 and you've got all 7 of those things in place, you will have a very sustainable safety culture.
Right, right, right. And that's the key is because we can't be everywhere. So it has to be
No,
operations that owns it. It has to be them that drives these things. We can go around and do those spot checks. We can help with training and metrics, of course, obviously, and that kind of stuff then, but they have to be the owners to make this thing
exactly.
work.
Exactly. We monitor, audit, review, and advise.
Right, right,
Right.
right.
And yes, I mean, training is part of what we do. Observations, all the things that we do is part of it. But we're going to monitor their systems, their job sites, their projects. We're going to audit them, and audit and observation can be interchanged there. We're going to review the data that we have, and then we will advise our client on the best way to fix that and give them options to do it.
Hmm. Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah, exactly, exactly. Rod, this was really good, but we are bumping up on time. Could you let the
Yeah,
audience know how they can find you out there?
absolutely. So, just best way right now is probably just shoot me an email. It's real simple. It's R Courtney at Power Grid Services, all lowercase, all one, one solid word. R Courtney at powergridservices.com.
Perfect, Rod. Perfect. And thank you again for coming back on and covering number 3 and number 4. So in future
Hey,
ones, we'll sit down and knock out the rest. So great,
excellent, my friend.
great talking to you, Rod. Thank you so
You too,
much.
buddy.
And
Thanks, everybody.
everybody, have a safe day.